What up, guys? Jay Daniel here with my co-host Victor Marshall, and this is the Sales at Home podcast. Today, we're talking about sales energy.
Yeah, for sure.
Bring it in, Victor. What are we talking about?
So my question to you today, so that
Mhm.
you can help us out with, is how do you stay present? How do you get present, especially when life throws you up and downs? You're sick, you're not feeling well, things are going awry outside of your job, outside of
Mhm.
the call. How do you show up for the call? How do you stay present? How do you focus in on the call?
Sure. I mean, always try to have like 5 minutes before the call to get present. If you wake up and you have a sales call in 1 minute and you still got like there's weird stuff in your eyes, or you just had an argument and you have a sales call in 1 minute, right? It's gonna bleed into it.
Yeah.
Um, try to have like 5 minutes and like I like push-ups. There's been there's a couple studies that say like the more muscle mass that you have in your body, the more optimized your hormones are for like to have antidepressive like effects. So there's studies that basically say like your muscles, they release hormones into your body that cancel out like stress, increase serotonin, epinephrine, things like that. So like literally just do it. Like if you literally just do some push-ups, like it sounds crazy, but before a call, just drop and do like 20 push-ups and do them really, really slow so your arms, if you get to the point where your arms are trembling, like whatever you just had going on kind of phases out, you know? That's something I like to do. You can also just breathe. If you take 6 deep breaths, like really slowly, it resets your parasympathetic nervous system, and it because what happens is when you're stressed out and you're focused on this stuff, like you can't think straight. You know,
Yeah.
you're
Yeah.
basically asking like, how do I clear my head so I can be
Yeah.
present with the person? So just clear your head. Like just do something that consumes you and takes up all your focus. I say doing push-ups to failure, and then like getting to the point where you're trembling and just kind of pushing a little bit past that, which takes 2 or 3 minutes. Like nobody's doing more than 150 push-ups in one set, right? So
Mm.
2 to 3 minutes, and if you're having some kind of like trouble, I think if you have momentum, you should be fine. But if you don't have momentum or you feel bad, like just take a second, take some breaths,
Yeah.
do some push-ups, and you'll be fine. That's been my experience.
Yeah. So would you say it's more of a mental thing that you use physicality to overcome, or is it more of a like a shock to a system?
Well, what the shock to the system does is it resets you, right? Because you like what happens is you're on a, when you're mad and everything pisses you off and you're almost like on a track.
Yeah.
You're basically derailing that track, that train of thought, right? And so that's the push-ups and everything derails it, and then you can choose your kind of like how you're gonna go into the call. So you just like you choose to be the leader of that conversation, right?
Yeah.
Like yeah, I'm stepping in. Like that's what I tell myself. Like I'm step, and that's why sometimes on scripts on new offers it'll say like you're the advisor, you're the doctor, blah blah blah. Like just set that frame in your own mind. Like I'm leading this conversation. I'm not here to take shit. I'm here to help. I don't need this fucking person. They need me. Like, um, and I think this is more so. This is more so when somebody's a little bit newer. I think the more experience you have, the more that is kind of a part of you, right?
Mm.
You're like, okay, sales mode, right? And some people even have like trinkets. So some people put on a certain hat, and the hat signifies like sales mode, and it's like the alter ego effect. Really good book.
Yeah.
Right? Or like a trinket, a watch, maybe even a smell. You can actually link certain smells to certain emotional states. So an exercise that that's really good is like okay, so here's an example, right? Like just because you can change, this is all emotions, bro. This is all emotions. And if you can
Mm.
control your own emotions, you can help somebody guide theirs, right? If you sit down for a second, if you have a dog or if you have a kid or you have a little nephew, anybody who's like that you care about, right? If you think about somebody hurting them or somebody attacking them or somebody being mean to them, immediately, right? Your emotional state changes,
Mm.
right? So you want to basically be able to find what changes your emotional state to put your emotional state in alignment with somebody who can actually lead this person on a call, right? And that's why like that's what we do on sales calls, right? Like, dude, like
Yeah.
why is this important to you? Like you're looking for the strongest value that they have, an emotional hot point, right? Right? And you can hear their voice change. So find out what makes your voice change. Like, and it usually we've spoken about this before, but it usually comes back to people, right?
Yeah.
Like I want to give this to my mom, I want to give this to my kids, I want to give this to my wife. I don't want this to happen to us. I want us to be in this reality. I want them to thank me for doing this. If you just take a second and really feel that, and then you can, if you want to go higher level, right? As soon as you feel it when you imagine it, you get a certain like cologne that you really like, and you spray it. Now that cologne is linked to that emotion. So now when you smell the cologne, you feel the emotion. A dog, every day he hears a bell and he gets food, 10 days in a row, day 11, he hears the bell, there's no food. His stomach is secreting the enzymes before he even sees the food. He's starting to drool just
Mhm.
because of the signal from the bell. It's changing the way
Yeah.
his body works, right? So there's a
Yeah.
lot of things you can do.
Pavlov. Yeah.
Yep, Pavlov. Yep.
Yeah. So what I'm hearing is it's showing up for a call is a mastery of your emotions. It's
Mm-hmm.
basically handling your emotions and not necessarily getting rid of them or forgetting about them, but structuring them in a way that is beneficial to you on the call.
Yeah, yeah, of course. Somebody like okay, think about a prospect, right?
Yeah.
They're not going to take action if they're not in an emotional state that's aligned with growth, that's aligned
Right.
with, right? Or like that's aligned with movement in general. If they're not that emotional, like they're probably not going to do anything because emotion is energy in motion. It means move, right?
Yeah.
So like you just got to get yourself going. You need to build some momentum, right? Because when you have it and somebody tries to pull some shit on a call, you can kind of cut through that tension. It's hard and it's uncomfortable to cut through tension if you're like, you're like blah. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah,
Because
for sure.
sales, in my opinion, is like you have your process and you have your structure, but there's everything in between the process and everything in between the structure, right? There's like this person's voice went up when they said that. Why is that? Hey, I noticed your voice went up when you said this. What's that mean? Why is that important to you? What's that mean to you? Right? You're not going to pick up
Yeah.
on that. You're not going to be present if you're thinking about your fucking girlfriend who just dumped you, or like, oh that pizza. I just drank some coconut water and it was rotten. I can't believe it. And these companies are trying to kill us. And like, shut up. Like, this person just booked in a call. Like help them out.
Yeah.
But
I
we
asked the
can't see that.
question. I
Uh
asked
huh.
the question because, there's this attitude that goes around. It's like, oh, sales is very cut and dry. It's very, you know, point A to point B, push through, and you
Hmm.
find their pain points, you make sure that you get what their problems are, and that's how you get the deal, right? If you can handle their emotions, that's how you close. But I tend to think that it's more about how you handle your emotions, and in turn they feel that. Because I think that if there's this line of like, don't be emotional on sales call, or you like, don't use your emotions, don't show your emotion. And
Hmm.
I tend to disagree with that, because I feel that if I'm connecting with someone in a real conversation, if you tell me something that's emotional, then I should be able to mirror that back to you, or at least understand and empathize with that back to you. Right. I should be able to show you that, oh, I understand and I feel what you're saying. And that just makes you be able to open up more and let me know a little bit more what's going on in your life and what's going on with your business, and what your goals are. And you're not reading off a script like I am. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, I'm not reading off a script. I'm actually communicating with you. But if I'm not communicating in an emotional way, you're going to feel like I'm reading off a script, which is going to make you answer like you're reading off a script.
Right.
And I feel like a lot of salespeople get stuck with that. A lot of salespeople get stuck on, let me follow the process and not understand where the conversation is leading, and how to get that emotion. And I think
Right.
that's why there's some women who make excellent salespeople, because they understand that a conversation is just a movement between emotions. And
Yep.
so they're just moving between the emotions. And now we're back and forth. And all of a sudden you're crying at the end of the call, but there's a 20K piff.
Right. Yeah, dude. I think once you get to a certain point, like every conversation you have should be a sales call.
Yeah.
You're talking to your mom, like, hold on, why did you say that? Right? What's that mean? Have you thought about what would happen if you keep doing that? What if another 3 years goes by, right? Like like it should be like natural. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Um, because like it's true, sales is a conversation, bro. And sales is just communication. Like people, I know people have like, yeah, this process, like it really is. You're just communicating. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah. And the
uh,
best conversations are emotional.
yeah, 100%.
And that doesn't mean that you're crying. It doesn't mean there's tears, but what are emotions if not just the way that we relay how we feel? And if
Right.
we're happy, that's an emotion. If we're sad, that's an emotion. If we're contemplative,
Yep.
that's an emotion. You know what I mean? Like
Yep.
if we're thinking about things, if we're working through something, that's all emotion. And
Yep.
I love the misnomer that women are emotional and men aren't, because
We're all
it's
emotional, bro.
we're all
Yeah.
emotional. We just show our emotions differently. And if you can understand, hey, I'm talking to a man, this is how a man would like to show his emotions, and you can communicate with that. And if you say, oh, I'm talking to a woman, this is how a woman shows her emotions, and if you can communicate to that as well, then you're a great communicator.
And also to add to that, right? There's nuances within those niches as well, right? Like
Mhm.
you have some men where they need to be spoken to from the masculine because they're very like in their feminine, and then there's a lot
Mhm.
of women that need to be spoken to almost like in that feminine way because they're very in their masculine, right? So you got to be able to pick up in between, you know, like to a degree, like you got to be able to feel people's energy and you got to be able to know like how to guide the combo based on that. Like some people you're not going to be able to hard close, and some
Yeah,
people they need to be hard closed. They need to
right.
look at reality, right? They need dad to smack them across the mouth because they're being a little punk. Like,
But you just described as mastery of conversation.
mm-hmm,
It's
one hundred
making sure
percent.
that it's making sure that I'm not just talking just to talk. I'm actually trying to have a conversation, trying to get to know you. And I think
Yep.
that's the big thing. A lot of people fail in sales. I mean, how many people did we start out with, who are no longer in sales anymore because they thought they
Oh,
could just
dude.
come in and read the 7-figure sales script and
Make
all of a sudden
10K,
make
10K a
10K.
month,
Yeah. And they thought
10K
that's
in
all
10
they needed to
days.
do.
Come on.
But I mean, really, like, what was that? What was that whole ad? What was that whole line of thinking? It was a company communicating to your emotions of being broke, being poor, wanting money, wanting more things. And so you bought in, right?
Yep.
They were masters of communication and you bought into that. So now you're thinking, oh, this is that easy. I just got to go out and do that. But no, you're not mastering the conversation. You're just reading words that somebody else wrote.
100%.
And it's sad. It's sad because there's a lot of people who could have been great salespeople if they would have learned a different way.
Dude. Um, yeah, it's interesting, bro. I think and this is something that JD Daly, one of our past guests, shout out to JD, like something he says a lot, right? Is like, yo, like study communication, like
Yeah,
if you look at all the guys that are really good at sales, they study communication. Like they obviously studied sales, but like they study communication, persuasion. Like who do you know that's good at sales that hasn't read Chris Voss's book, right?
yeah,
Like just you know what I mean? Like study communication and like that I think that's really important because once you understand it's just a conversation, you're able to like be able to branch off and have any conversation,
right,
in any niche, and
right.
I just think it's helpful, bro. The reason I got into sales, yeah, obviously you want to make some money, but like because it's a prerequisite to business to be able to communicate. Business is
Hmm.
literally networking. You're literally just calling and texting and communicating with people all day.
Oh, yeah.
You know,
And if you can do that, you've got a successful business.
dude, that's all fucking Elon Musk and Jeff Bezos. Like, what do you think they're doing, bro? They have people running their
Yeah.
businesses. They just
Oh,
do
yeah.
Zoom calls and meet people. Like, hey, how's everything?
Oh,
Good,
yeah.
good. We got to fix this. We do? Okay. What do I need? A coder? Okay. Hey, coder. Yeah, I need you to fix this. Okay. Bam.
Hmm.
And like that's communication. Because then maybe the coder's like, don't fucking tell me what to do, right?
You know
And
what's
it's like,
funny?
what?
You mentioned those high ups, but like look at Grant Cardone lately. His ads have been all over the place, right? He's been pushing his products, he's been pushing his programs. But who does he have in his ads sitting there talking to about business and about, life and about their structure? Celebrities. He's sitting down with Kevin Hart in front of millions of people talking about business. Why is he doing that for? Is Kevin Hart gonna like propel his business forward? Not necessarily. What Kevin Hart's doing is he's having a conversation, he's networking with him, and Grant's networking with Kevin. And what that
Yep.
does is that brings notoriety to both of them and adds some stability to both of their businesses. and allows
Yep.
them to use each other's platforms to grow. And I mean, and that's all business is. It's that network, like you just said. It's networking. It's making sure that point A and point B can meet here, and we can talk, and we can, work off each other, and we can grow. And then all of a sudden, our businesses are booming on both sides because we had that one conversation.
100%. And that's a good point, dude. I think most people are one conversation away. Like,
Yeah. Oh yeah.
dude, and on that note too, because like on the note of like sales, like you do sales everywhere. Bro, it's not like so I'm going to an event in June. I'm going to two events and one in Ohio, one in California. And some guy I posted in the group in the Facebook group for the event. Hey guys, I'm gonna be there. Who's gonna be there too? Bunch of people commented, people inboxed me. This guy inboxed me, we're chatting, blah blah blah. Good little chat. Starts his little sales pitch. I'm like, cool, cool, cool. We start just chatting, blah blah blah. And at the end of it, right? It was meant to be like him just trying to sell me this thing, but it became like, yo, like that was transformative. You might have changed my life, And it's like all throughout the conversation, you see all the opportunities per se that you'd see on a sales call, right? And it's
Yeah.
not that there's a payout in the end, like, okay, you're here, not necessarily here's $2,500 commission, but it's like, okay, cool. You just changed this person's life. You just helped this person with this, right?
Yeah.
And so I think I think anybody should at least study and learn communication because it'll only help with business. And yeah, you can make fucking six figures with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, even though like yeah, I'm not yeah. Sales is not read a script and make 10K a month. It's not easy.
No.
Um
No.
there is a big grind involved in that process and a lot of patience that's required and a lot of studiousness.
Yeah,
Um
for sure.
yeah, but I'm sorry, back to what you were saying. I just worked out, so my brain is all the
Yeah.
way up and all the way down.
It's the thought process of, I just need to talk to people and to connect to people,
Yeah.
and not just connect to people through, oh, you're on a call with me, let me walk you through what I want to have this conversation lead to, but let's actually sit down and talk. Like one of the things you said a couple episodes ago was you're like, I really just love talking to these people. And like I would call them up and talk to them, like even if I wasn't on a sales call with them. And
Yep.
that's the kind of vibe you want. That's the kind of like energy you want to put out there, because
100%.
on the follow up, they're like, oh yeah, that's my guy, right? Or
Yep.
on the call, they're like, oh yeah, I'm doing this because this is my guy. You know what I mean?
Yep.
You want them to feel that about you, and if you communicate effectively, then they will.
Yep. And to add to that too, bro. Like doesn't matter how much you like them, qualify early. I like Michael
Yeah,
Dunleavy, how in like the first 10 minutes he's like, by the way, if we were to work together, it'd be 15K. You got 15K, buddy?
yeah,
How about a payment plan? Well, for what? We can definitely get into that, but I don't want to waste your time or my time. Do you have it?
hmm,
Like, it's good to like very early on identify if it's because you value your time too, right? You don't want to just give it away to
yeah,
everybody,
for sure.
especially if you're talking about the people at mass. So make sure to value your time and qualify early because especially if you can triage your own leads or have somebody else triage them and qualify them financially and partner wise and priority wise, like
Yeah.
sometimes I forget that shit. But last earlier in the week, I had a call and I spent an hour and a half with them, and I'm like, I pre-handled every possible objection, this, but I didn't do the money. I
Mm,
did the partner and urgency, and I didn't do the money, and I noticed they're a little bit dismissive towards the end, and I'm like, what's going on? And they're like, yeah, well, we don't have that. We're talking like the lowest payment plan, and I'm like, fuck, I just spent an hour and a half with these people, and so
mhm.
there is a level of like valuing your time as well,
Yeah.
and so be in an environment where the people you like talking to, but also like you're being intelligent because as a commission only sales rep, you don't get paid to have those conversations. So
Right.
like you could be with your kids, you could be fucking working out, you could be at the gym, like you could be doing whatever, you could be playing ball, like you could be eating, like
Yeah.
watching, you could do anything besides sales. So keep
Yeah.
that in mind.
Yeah. Love it, man. Well, hey, we're gonna wrap this up this week. This has been
That's
another great
it.
episode of the Sales at Home podcast. Like,
Woo!
comment, subscribe, follow us on Spotify. Spotify just changed their podcasting platform. It used to be Anchor, now it's Spotify for podcasters. Listen
Ooh,
to us there, listen to us on Apple, listen to us on Amazon, and give
Five
us a
stars.
5-star rating.
That's right. All right, guys, we're out.
Peace.
Thanks for watching Sales at Home podcast. If you loved our content and would like to see more, please hit that like, subscribe, and that notification bell to make sure that you don't miss out on any episodes coming up. If you'd like to see more of Jay Daniel, click here. If you'd like to see more of the Ninja Closer, click here. If you'd like to get your questions answered by us on our show, email us at salesathomepodcast@gmail.com or DM us on Instagram. Peace.